Oh, hell, I may jump out of my seat for this. Good friend, but have interviewed him on my other show on Unpaved. But we're now doing some stuff together. Okay. It's old versus young. It's the Palmer era versus the YouTube sensation era. No, it's just guys that love golf and are here. This is the Findable Podcast. It is our first one. He's Nick Bender. He is the founder and CEO of Grunk Golfer. You can get him at Grunk Golfer on IG, on TikTok, on Instagram. I already said Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all there. And go get his stuff, man. For you guys that like to have a good time and change how we look on the golf course and change how you feel, bam. Nick's the guy. Nick, great to be with you. I'm Sean Salisbury. You can find me at the Sean Salisbury on Instagram, at Sean Unfiltered on Twitter. And I am the founder and boss of Unpaved Golf Company, which by the end of this first quarter, we're in mock-ups now with the logo and clothing. My apparel business will be coming out. So we'll have both. We'll cover it all from Sean Connery looking all the way down to if you like beer and you like a cigar, we're going to cover it all in between, as well as some serious golf talk and a lot of laughs from YouTube to PGA Tour. Nick, good to be with you, brother. You and I have been going back and forth about this for months in a good way. And here we are. Great to have you. I know that you're thriving with the Grunk Golfer stuff, but we're more than that. We do play and we love to watch it. And we're both fanatical, which I'll get to after we say hello to you. Welcome in, my man. It's good to be with you.
Happy to be here. Yep. As you said, we've been planning this for quite a while. And what better time of the year to kick off the next biggest golf podcast than the beginning of golf season and the beginning of the year, right as we come into the Sony and soon to be the Amex, which I will be at, by the way, live, and all of the other things that I'm excited about for 2026. This is at the top of my list in terms of starting a podcast with you. Again, we've been going back and forth. I'm pumped. Let's just get into it.
Can't wait. And we're getting into it now, and it's called the Findable Podcast. And I think that fits to a lot of you. Try and find that golf ball. Okay. So let's go, and we're going to find how we're going to start. Let's kick off 2026. Sony opens next week. Normally we'd be at Kapalua, but with the drought, that tournament was canceled this year. So they'll start off the next week, which is next Thursday, about 10 days from now in Hawaii at the Sony Open. Let me start first off with this, Nick. And I've thought about this a lot. I think golf outside of Tiger Woods, I'm not talking about Sunday ratings and the rest of it. We know all that when Tiger was in tournaments, but just his run when he was the most dominant player in the world. And even now, if the guy enters a tournament and he is 75% healthy, we still love it. I would argue, and we can get to the whys, that golf now, and I'll speak for me, I don't the ratings and all that at no time in my life have I set my schedule to TV golf. I love playing forever, but I'll watch Nelly Korda in a tournament on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll have it on TVs when it's during football season. During the fall season, I'm watching golf. It's not just the majors, what it used to be anymore, or the Tour Championship. For me, it's every week, all the time. Studying swing, studying apparel, golf courses, all of it. There is no time. Now, Scheffler's helped, and the depth at the top is pretty damn good, and Scheffler's dominating, but we can say McIlroy, and we'll get to last year's review of what happened in the player of the year. But for me, golf's never been more popular. In my life, I have never been more obsessed and almost neurotic about golf and everything with it than I am now. I'm still trying to figure out the whys because there's been bigger superstars in it. I think we lack that personality like Woods had, where he'd stare you down, or the Fuzzy Zellers, or the Lee Trevinos way back when, or even when Mickelson was a regular on the PGA Tour, which we'll get to. To me, it's more popular now than it's ever been. And the whys, I'm not sure it's one thing. Maybe it's just my passion overflowing. But I think there's a lot of guys each week that can win. And it didn't used to be that way for me for the most part. But these last few years, it's dominant. And I know it's Scheffler dominated, but at any given day, we can get a guy like J.J. Spaun go in there and win it like a U.S. Open.
I think it's exciting right now, certainly, but I think it's exciting for a couple reasons. And I disagree about it being exciting. I don't feel like when Scotty's in a tournament that anyone else could win it. I don't feel that way. I know that he doesn't always win, But I feel like if Scotty Scheffler's ending a tournament in 2025 and going into 26 and for a couple years prior, I don't think anybody was touching him. I mean, obviously we had Rory win the Masters finally 30 years later. But frankly, that was a little too late for me for him. He's always whining about something. To me, it's kind of Scheffler at the top and everybody else living in his shadow. That said, there are a lot of exciting people that I look forward to seeing in a tournament, whether they win or not. But they haven't been able to break through the way that I wish they would. I mean, Justin Thomas is a great example. Probably comeback player of the year, 2025, but, still mediocre relative to what Scotty's doing. Scotty's given us a little bit more of that Tiger-esque run where it's like, if he's around, put your clubs away because he's taking it.
I'll take Scheffler over the field most tournaments he in. He enters 18 to 22 of them or something a year, won 6 times in 2025. We know that, he's one major away in 2026 from his Grand Slam as well. But I didn't say who the best golfer was. And I didn't say that the field had much of a chance. Yet statistics say the field still has a chance even when Scheffler's in it. But I'm with you. When Scheffler tees it up, if I got the first pick, I'm always taking Scotty Scheffler. The work, the grind, and a lot of times when guys have success, they can go into I've got it made. I think he works harder the more he wins. What I'm saying is the popularity for me, because even though Scheffler can dominate, and I know what you're saying when I said it's more popular because there's a lot of guys who can win at the top, yet when the tournament's on the line, anybody that's got half a brain in golf, or if you've never watched a damn round of golf in your life, but you just know this guy, then you got a pretty good chance at being in the money. I'm just talking about the popularity, and maybe YouTube has something to do with it. The whys we're looking for. Maybe it's the fact that I have become my game's better. I've worked at it harder. Maybe it's the fact that with the apparel part of it, it makes me watch closer to. I'm always looking for logos of what a dude's wearing and what kind of material, from Malbon and Jason Day right on to Scotty Scheffler, filled with Nike, who has nothing but Nike on his body. So with that, but the popularity of it, maybe it's the golfer, maybe it's the excitement, maybe it's all these young players like a Michael Brennan, like a Luke Clanton that are starting to rise, and we're looking for comebacks like we got from Justin Thomas. I think we're waiting for one from this year from Jordan Spieth. So for me, the popularity may be nothing will be as valuable and popular, I don't think, to the tour than what Tiger Woods did in his run. But since then, between injuries and car accidents and divorces and all that, and his comeback is almost the father of PGA now because people look up to him. The popularity of it for me, and the way women's golf has taken off, the Korn Ferry, guys like Aldrich Potgieter who can come and hit it 400 yards and be in the hunt just like that. Guys like Brennan who enter one tournament and win and get his tour card. That's the popularity that I'm rolling with, as well as a lot of this YouTube excitement. These guys are printing money as well as content. And we're seeing them creep into the PGA Tour, whether it's advertising or the rest of it. Can you argue that popularity for you? When was golf most popular for you, and why?
Well, oh man, when was it? I mean, definitely now. You're right, but I think you hit the nail on the head with the YouTube golf thing. To me, people are undervaluing what that is bringing to the game. Honestly, forget about live golf. I think that's turning into a joke, and we're seeing that you cannot buy your way into a sport. But that's maybe another conversation. YouTube golf, look at the numbers. They're getting 15 to 20 million views a week between the top 10 golf channels. That's as much as you're going to get on a Sunday at any tournament other than maybe the Masters and the US Open. And so
which is alarming if you're a PGA Tour, right? I know it's helping them, but it is alarming.
And look at how many barriers the PGA is putting in front of those guys, banning certain guys because they have live golf. They play in a live golf tournament. All these things. They should be, if the PGA wants to, like you and I are from very different places in life, but our attention is captured right now because of what's going on. And the PGA, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, dude.
The PGA is fucking it up because they're the old bastards like you. They are.
Whoa. Now,
I'm just saying it. They are.
What do you say? Don't stand there too long because I can still beat you. But even then, with
Maybe.
that,
Th-
and I'm
we'll
still
have to
longer
have
than you.
that
I'm
conversation
still
another day.
longer, 30 years
But
older and 30 yards longer. That being
but
said,
they
but I think young. I
sure,
don't now. I love some of the
sure.
things that
And
shouldn't
they
change.
don't. And they
Right.
don't.
Well, guess what? Then maybe you and I should be running the PGA Tour, and there'll be
Well,
some
that's what I'm saying.
forward thinking.
They need to be
Stuffy.
embracing these guys. You know, these guys are actively out there making content that I watch and people my age and younger watch every single day. I'm more likely to turn on a YouTube channel video than I am to pull up a golf tournament on a Saturday, maybe on a Sunday, but on a Saturday, do I open the PGA event or do I open, Grant Horvat's latest video? It's probably a Grant Horvat video because he probably played with the best player that week, right?
Right. But remember this with your youth, we're still not going to, we already got our kind of like cheesemo shorts. And while I love music playing, when I go play, I want to dress like they do on the Live Tour. I do. I want to wear shorts. I want to have fun. And the rest of it, I like music playing, cigar smoking, a little shot of bourbon. Let's go play and get after it and talk shit the whole time. But we ain't wearing hat backwards on the PGA Tour. Not now, not ever, unless it's raining. Okay. So then when you talk about the old and the young, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
It's all part of the problem.
But yet maybe it should, right?
Yeah. Well, it should.
Maybe it should.
Because I mean, look, Malbon. They look what they've done, and even then, when they came in,
they're creating chaos on purpose too, right?
Certain pieces of clothing. That's such bull. All of that's bullshit. They do not understand the assignment. They are the typical, old guard that's holding on for desperate dear life to their old ways, and the YouTube space is just pushing them slowly but surely into the modern era. And I think that's what I think. My take is I think we're going to start to see more of that. All it's going to take is new leadership at the top of the PGA, which I feel like within the next couple years here, that'll be shaken up. I mean, obviously all the crap that happened with Moynihan and how bad he fumbled all of that. We're going to start to see Live Golf guys come back. They've taken their big paychecks from Saudi or whoever the hell's funding that. And they're going to come back in with a new fire in their belly. I really like the idea of Koepka coming back in. I think he's going to come back in and dominate. If he comes back in 26, he's going to be at the top of every leaderboard with something to prove.
Sean Salisbury here, Unpaved Golf Apparel, Unpaved Golf Company, Grunk Golfer founder. Go in and check out his stuff. It's phenomenal. That's how we met in the first place. So while we joke around about age, that's one of the first companies I went after that wasn't stuffy, that I can wear on the golf course, and I do, with great hats and great material and great product, but also a great guy running it. I want to get back to what you mentioned about Koepka coming back and Live and the rest of it. I think the exodus is going to continue. I look at a guy like Dustin Johnson, who is as gifted and talented as anybody on the tour before he left. And I know he may not want to hear this, but you cannot tell me that the competitive fire did not leave. It became too casual. I like relaxed, but when you're casual in football and baseball, too casual equal sit your ass over on the bench. You're not going to get off the bench, because too casual gets your ass kicked. Relaxed in golf gets you wins, gets you in contention, and gets you doing what we all want to do, stand over a ball and not shit ourselves, okay, when there's people watching. Well, the guys on tour do that. Dustin Johnson lost his edge in 2025 and 2024. Now, he's still long, can still play. We know he's talented. But that ability to compete and knowing you didn't have to make a cut, you were getting paid anyway. And when you get your pockets padded with a couple $100 million, however they paid these out, of course. Now, do I believe if he came back, he'd be competitive right away again? I do. I think Jon Rahm comes and wins if he comes back. And I think they're coming back. And now Rory McIlroy kind of opening his arms and being the guy you mentioned that whines about everything. Rory McIlroy thinks that the world left and that everybody appointed him the spokesperson. But he's taking it on, and that's fine. But you don't have to agree, and neither do I, with everything he says. And if you're looking for a little cheese with that wine, he'll give it to you in big Swiss blocks. But he's still a great player. But I do see the exodus coming back, because I even think Koepka lost a little of that competitive fire. And there's no more cut your heart out and feed it to you guy on the PGA Tour when he's there than Brooks Koepka, and knows how to shine in big moments. So with that, one thing I didn't have on here, but I do want to hit it, because we both have even though, like I said, the age thing, I think we both have a similar approach to the stuffiness out, but we still need some of that class involved, meaning class and doing it the right way. Yet, when are we going to have a guy? What would stop Jason Day from wearing his baggy pants and his Malbon across his chest, or Charlie Hull playing with their hat backwards. In 5 years from now, a decade from now, what's the PGA Tour look like with this YouTube influence? Does it look like shirts untucked? We're at joggers now. I'm not even just talking about the apparel. I'm talking about the way courses are set up, equipment. Where are we headed? But what do you think the biggest thing is when I turn on my TV in 2035? What's the PGA Tour going to look like optics-wise?
Well, obviously, it's all going to be robots by then. But other than that, I think a couple things.
You mean Scotty Scheffler, who just hits it straight like a robot, hits it close and makes putts?
The immediate answer is I think it looks a lot more like Live. Live is not, I don't think, going to be successful. It's not going to succeed. In fact, the only person that stock went up was Bryson DeChambeau after Live.
Doubt.
Everybody else went down.
More than anybody in golf, period, on any level, with what he did to attract those young guys and to be a part of that.
Right. And Phil Mickelson, I guess you could maybe make an argument his stock went up, but those two guys have one thing in common, and it's not, I mean, Live Golf is one of them, but the reason their stock went up is because they focused on YouTube golf, both of them, not because of Live Golf. And so
Live Golf just padded their wallets for them to have the freedom to go do some other shit. That's what
exactly. That's all that did. And those two ran with it. Dustin Johnson, I got the hot wife. I live in Florida. I'm worth a couple $100 million. I'm kicking back. The other, and that's his bro. Come on. I mean,
I don't hate him for it.
It's not a bad life, right?
Right.
But you're right. I don't think he'll come back and be competitive ever again. Dustin Johnson, I don't think so. A guy like Bryson.
Do you think, what if he says, you know what, I'm going to recommit myself? Talent-wise, he's in his 30s. He can do it. The question is, you're saying is, I'm guessing, is you don't think he's ever going to commit the grind that it takes to win consistently, like a Scheffler does every week.
Not to get off of the golf, but look at Conor McGregor after the Floyd Mayweather fight. He never had it again. When you put $600 million in your bank account and it's a couple $100 million after taxes, and that's what you're staring at every day, you're not going to get up and get punched in the face. And the PGA is a grind. As much as you and I would love that to be our life, doing that day in and day out, when you have the FU money sitting in the bank that those Live guys got, no, it takes a special kind of somebody to have that kind of money and continue down that path. And I don't see that. He looks like, by the way, looks like a fun guy to hang out with, Dustin Johnson, but he doesn't look like the guy that's going to get back out there and grind. Koepka, I think maybe. Bryson, yes, but not DJ. So to circle back to the answer of your question, what does the PGA Tour look like? I think it's if they pull their heads out of their ass, it looks a lot like YouTube golf today. I think it should be POV, mic'd up golfers with their personalities coming out. I think in a world where bandwidth is not a problem, you should have a camera on anybody that's in the top 20, and you should be able to follow them in real time live and not miss one of their shots. I mean, how many times even do you just go into the Masters and maybe your guy Phil or somebody is in the X amount of positions and you don't even get to see him until he gets to Amen Corner. That's not fun for me. I want to see my favorite guys every single shot. I want to know what's going on in his head in real time. Like Jordan Spieth got popular. Why? Because, he was really good for a little bit of time. And all of his hot mic moments, people love that shit because that's who we all are. We're out there on the course talking shit to ourselves, pissed off that we didn't hit the shot we want to hit. And the more that the PGA leans into that element of the game that YouTube golf captures, the better off they are.
I love more mics. I love more talk. I love more. I think at times caddies over talk, but we're at the point now, like Nicklaus would have never allowed it. Tiger Woods didn't allow much of it unless he asked. But we're to the point now that the buddy system, these guys are carrying on conversations like you and I would when we're out playing, which is different than the old guard has a hard time handling it. And for me, I living in Houston and obviously following Jordan Spieth's young career and then up and winning majors and what a ball striker and magician around the greens is one thing. I'm a talker to myself. I cuss myself out all the time, from 20 years ago, you'll snap a club to then throw a ball. Now you just cuss yourself out because he gets over and it's a lot less expensive. But at times, I think Jordan Spieth talks too much. Okay, I want to hear his conversation, but damn, enough's enough. And I mean it kind of tongue in cheek, but I do want more mics on him. I want a guy to be able to tell me, I want the mic turned on. I don't know if we'll ever get to this, but I'd like a mic turned on where I can hear his when they're talking, walking around the greens and stalking their shot, or what they're thinking while they're doing. I want to be in their mind more. I've said it in football. I want a camera on the quarterback's helmet. The small one. It's not with the way we got these GoPros that it's so small. There's no weight on it. And I want him to be able to cut to that camera like the pylon cam when he drops back to pass. And I want to see what he sees. And it's the same in golf. Hell, I see the shots now. We got the guy, there's a camera down by the ball. I want to see that camera. I want to see the ball strike it. I want to see a lot more of the contribution. What I think golf's going to look like is more like you're talking about, with more spice. And I think you're going to run into the golfers that are finally saying, no. I play my practice rounds better dressed like this or looking like this, and this is how I'm more free flowing, just like you and I. So the combination of both class and kind of excitement and more communication, you're going to see more of that on tour, and I want more of it. And I think most people do, because we're getting out of the old guard, and we've done it with broadcasts. Look at Colt Knost now sitting in the booth. Smiley Kaufman, we hear more from him. Kevin Kisner. While there's some great old school, Dottie Pepper is off the charts, but we're also adding guys that live on YouTube as well. Right. And I think that will carry over, and the purses are only going to get bigger.
Real quick on this topic, and then we'll move on. Here's why I think the PGA, until they change the guard, won't do it. Do you think that what we just laid out would make these players more popular or less popular?
From our approach, far more popular. We'd have
exactly.
The 35th star in the world would be big.
I don't think the PGA likes the outspoken Bryson DeChambeaus of the world that have their own personality and everybody sees and loves it or hates it, but elevates their brand above the PGA. And until the PGA can man up and realize that the players are the talent and nobody gives a shit about the brand PGA, then we will never get there. But I think in the next couple of years, there will be a changing of the guard. That kind of stuff that we just laid out will start. And then you get a guy like, dude, I mean, I'm excited to watch Neil Shipley this year. You know, that guy's a scrapper, man. And he doesn't get any airtime. But if I could go on and I could watch his round, I feel like I could be more like him one day, even though he's way better than I'll ever be. But he's more attainable to me than Scotty Scheffler. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget the fact that Scotty Scheffler, as robotic as he is probably, aside from getting pulled over and arrested that one time, the most boring golfer of all time. Right?
And wins, right? And
he just wins. He's methodical. He is electric in terms of winning, but in terms of like, I wouldn't really care to watch him hold the hole because he's just going to hit it straight and put it right next to the hole versus a guy like Shipley, who I'm really excited to see what he can do and get in his head.
He's boring. Scotty's boring on the course. I'm not even talking about the way he talks. Just boring because he does what the rest of us don't. He's great driver of the golf ball. Mechanics aren't exactly off the tee, but everywhere else they are. He's a long iron player, great short iron player, great putter under, and he's even adjusted that. You win 4 or 5 times, then you adjust your putter and you go win 6 times. The guy's phenomenal, but you're looking at the personality. You know who's the perfect example of what you and I are talking about? And he's going to win more this year. He's a guy to keep an eye on, and we'll get to that list. Is a guy who's won before and struggled this year, changed irons, went with the, he's made some major changes, is Max Homa. Homa's a YouTube personality. He's got great personality on the course, and he's not just a gimmick. He can win, and he has won. And that's where we're headed with this. And to validate what you're saying, Nick, 100%, when I started at ESPN doing television with Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott and Rich Eisen and Chris Berman, they didn't build that network and get it there. And tribute to our guy, Mark Shapiro, who has been phenomenal as a big boss when he was there at ESPN and still making a difference in the media world. His personality's built that place. Chris Berman and back. And it's a special Thursday edition of Monday Night Football. And then Stuart Scott's Booyah and Dan Patrick and Kenny Mayne and John Bucci-Grass and the whole group. That's what built it. And then they got away from that. They got away and wanted ESPN to be bigger than that, and that brand has suffered. We're starting to see them creep back into building the personalities. Scott Van Pelt, we need more Van Pelt all the time, anytime we can get him and talk. So, and now let the personalities, and they've done it with Stephen A. Smith, and now he's making, $25 million a year, whatever it is. So that's what it's the same thing on tour. The tour and all that's great. We want spice personality. That's why we loved Woods, even though he was a grinder, but he grinded to the point where people were afraid of him. Scotty's just nice to everybody and quiet and does his thing and just keeps winning. I guess you can't have it all. And most golfers would probably say, I'll take Scotty as opposed to changing the way we do things. But the PGA Tour has got to get more youthful thinking with the way we're going forward. Let's backtrack to 2025. This is my man, Nick. I'm Sean here. You can get him at Grunk Dolpher. Nick Bender is the founder and CEO of Grunk Dolpher. His stuff is phenomenal. I am the founder and CEO of Unpaved Golf Company, which in our first quarter here, if we're going through mock-ups on the logo, that will be hats and performance hoodies, as well as what Nick has with all his stuff. Great stuff at Grunk Dolpher. You'll get the same at Unpaved Golf Company. All right, let's backtrack to 2025. Did they get the Player of the Year right in your mind?
Yeah, it's boring, but yes. And there was a bunch of talk that Rory should have got it, and I just don't see that. I mean, he won the Masters, and by the way, I shit on Rory because I do think he's a little bit of a whiner, but I don't think anybody else could fill the Tiger's shoes as far as being the face and the voice of the PGA like him. So it kind of is what it is. He's guilty by proxy by being as tied in and have it into the PGA as he is, in my opinion. But
what
he won a Masters.
Yeah.
What's that?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
He won the Masters, and that's great, and everyone was excited. But he's also been in 20 Masters, and he finally won one. That doesn't make him the Player of the Year. Scheffler dominated. He continues to dominate, and that's who the Player of the Year is. That's it.
Well, I'm not picking the Player of the Year based on what he did in 2004 Masters. I'm picking this year. And Rory McIlroy had a great year, but Scheffler had a better one. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty easy when you lead the tour in scoring in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every round, and then win 6 times and win, take a couple majors home. And, his last couple year run from gold medals to winning tournaments to winning majors, and to just stay the course and having a baby. And I don't mean it's a distraction, but it uses some of your energy, and rightfully so. Family, and he's a family faith guy, and the ability to still go out there and do what he does to prepare. And he even takes on late tournaments. You saw the tournament he went, what was it, in Reno or something? When he went there, he wanted to polish up his game. And they said, I'm here to win it. It was pre-Ryder Cup, right? And so it leads me to this. What's a bigger moment? McIlroy dropping to his knees and the celebration of completing the career Grand Slam, or the horrendous first few days at the Ryder Cup for the U.S., the way the course was set up and the way we played? Which one's going to garner more U.S. conversation?
Look, I think, globally, the McIlroy moment is the biggest moment of the year,
no doubt.
Probably. But again, if there was a moment of the year award, I think McIlroy wins it. If you're an American, the most embarrassing is those first couple days. There was a lot of controversy around that. That maybe is a conversation for another day. But like Bradley not playing, to me, was a mistake. The guy's hot right now. I think he won on tour last year, right?
He did. He beat Tommy Fleetwood in that, when Fleetwood couldn't make a putt and full down the stretch. And then Fleetwood turned out to be one of the great stories on tour, period, because nobody consistently outside of Scheffler, in my mind, that I saw, played more consistently to put themselves in position. He just couldn't make putts. And then
he's got that old lady strength. We all know it. His wife's 15 years older than him. So he's getting that strength from somewhere.
Monster talent. Right. No doubt.
And that was exciting watching him win the FedEx Cup, his first actual win on tour. And most people didn't even realize that because he's always in the top. But he won it. He finally got his win. But I don't know, back to the Ryder. I don't know why you don't let Keegan Bradley play. I don't know if it's just again, back to that PGA tradition, old stuffy, the wrong way to
He should have
do
chose
things.
himself. He should have been a captain's pick and relied. And I don't know why we don't have guys like Paul Azinger. One thing I know, while the old guard, we need to change and get younger and keep some really good people that've been around golf for a while. But why guys like Tiger Woods and a guy like Paul Azinger, who is maybe our last great captain. Azinger was a grinder. Why we didn't have them out there supporting, walking the course with him. I think we went too inexperienced. Not that they're not good coaches. Having kids out there and the rest of that, awesome. But there's a presence. And the Europeans had a better presence. And no offense, the Ryder Cup feels like it. I don't know if it does, not to the individual players, but overall, we celebrate it and do it. It is in their fucking soul, dude. The Ryder Cup is in their soul. And the first 2 days looked like it was kind of we'll see what happens for us. And for them, it was to put their foot on our throat and bury us. Now, great comeback in the final day in the singles. But it is something that I think is going to, the next Ryder Cup, it'll hit hard. And I think Keegan Bradley, if he had to do it over again, because he was playing so well in 2025 in the last, that he should have played and leaned on some of the other coaches, had they been a veteran guy like a Paul Azinger, have him out there, would have helped him along so he could relax his mind. I know optics-wise it was the thing to do. He's just the coach and going to be the coach, or the Ryder Cup captain, should I say, and go from there. But it was a great moment, was McIlroy's, and congratulations to him. And there was a lot of great moments. Fleetwood, Scotty Scheffler. We saw a bunch of breakthrough winners like an Aldrich Potgieter. We watched at the end of the year Michael Brennan, the U.S. Open, Spawn. He was one of my great stories of the year. Got beaten. He got dominated by McIlroy at the Players in the on the playoff the next day. But his ability, and even in, like you said, the Ryder Cup and what he did, JJ Spawn's a monster talent. He just doesn't, maybe doesn't look the part, but I love him and I love his personality. So with that, MVP, we say the MVP player of the year, Scotty Scheffler. I think we both agree on that. Was there a guy that you saw? You mentioned Justin Thomas, that you saw that you say there's a ton more wins in his game. Not even sans Justin Thomas. You saw early wins, not 10 years from now, but this year and the next couple of years.
I think that, you mentioned Homa. I think he's on the cusp of having a crazy run. But one of the guys who I have my eyes on, and again, it's not like he's a nobody, he's got a gold medal, is Xander. I think he could go on a heater. He looked good at some of the parts of the Ryder Cup. He had a lot of, deep runs this in 25. I would say him and Homer are my top two to make a run and spout, just a couple, 2, 3, 4 wins in the season. And it could go either way, but to me, those are the two guys that I'm looking at.
Two or three guys stick out for me. And I'm going to tell you one that we rightfully put him on the Ryder Cup. And I think he is a phenomenal skill set. He changed his swing at the top to get slower at the top so he didn't get out of control. He won finally for him, just like we mentioned Fleetwood, but Cam Young. And then I watched him at the Ryder Cup. To me, his heart and soul of his grind and want to win. And everybody wants to win, but to put the grind in, he doesn't talk much. He just goes out there and he is a grind. I think he's going to win big in 2026. I mentioned Homa. Potgieter, if he can just corral some of that length, it's ridiculous how far he hits it. We know about McIntyre. I'm going to tell you a guy that I think needs to win more with his flat stick because he's so good with the putter is Sam Burns. He's long enough, and he is a great putter. We're going to see more of that. I'm a big Ludwig Goldberg fan, but we watched Michael Brennan, Luke Clanton, a couple of young names. But I'm going to tell you the one that sticks out for me right now that is going to win. He won on the DP World Tour 2 or 3 times this year. Is Marco Pench. I'm just telling you, if you're better, and you don't jump on Homa or Penge or Young this year on certain events to make you some money throughout the year. We know, listen, you're not going to get great odds with Scheffler. You may steal some with a Penge or a Potgieter or one of those guys. Marco Penge can hit the ball as far as anybody. He's really good around the greens. He's got great composure, and I watched him win under some adverse moments. I'm going to tell you right now, he will be a household name on the PGA Tour when all is said and done. The guy can bring a golf course to its knees, and he can go low at any time. those are a few names aside from the Matt Fitzpatricks and the Bobby McIntyres out there. But I expect a big a turnaround, almost comeback player of the year with Max Homa and possibly Jordan Spieth, depending on him and how he comes out early in 2026.
I don't see it for Spieth. I think his time's gone.
You think it's already gone, and even it is. What's lost? What do you think's missing? Too much swing, too many changes in the golf swing.
Yeah, I think
what's the problem?
I think some guys are just in their head, and he is the constant in his own head, and he can't get out of it, and that's fine. He's still a great golfer. He'll be in the top 10 of most majors. I just don't know if he has the juice to win anymore.
Okay, so tell me about. Go ahead.
We saw him fall apart in I can't remember which major it was, but he was getting close, looking good, and then Sunday he was nowhere to be found. You know?
I think he could talk himself into some good shots, but I think he also talks himself out of some good golf because he's spectacular. And and I think the frustration, and maybe it's the fact that it kept piling up on him last year. He's so gifted. Maybe it just takes one breakthrough. The question is, will he get it? And I know that a lot of golfers tinker. That's what makes them great. But sometimes you just got to overcome the tinkering and just let it rip. All right, trends. Let's start on the golf influencer thing, the YouTube stuff.
Yep.
Some like 3 or 4. Let's discuss maybe 5. Will it be the same guys? Who's on the rise? We know the Grant Horvats, who's really good and fun to watch. DeChambeau, Good's got a handful of people. We can separate that, but will we see the popularity of YouTubers, and including you and I, rise, but also same bat channel with the guys who dominated the YouTube space last year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of the same from those guys in the trend upward. I mean, every year that YouTube golf gets bigger, I think, okay, this is it. And then something like the Internet Invitational happens, and it just takes it to a whole nother level. And so now that we have that, where they're talking about potentially putting $5 or $10 million on the line, what it's going to do is it's going to flood the YouTube golf market with new talent because there's money to be made now, right? And that's what I'm excited about. Yes, I think the Grant Horvats, the Bob Does Sports, the Goods, they're going to continue to dominate. But there's guys I like that, you know, even some that were in the Internet Invitational that were relatively unknown, like the DOD King, like Chaz, who's the #1 adaptive player in the world, by the way, but just nobody knew who he was. Those are the kind of guys that I'm looking for to have a big upswing hockey stick type growth in 2026.
Got the Brian Bros too are still pretty popular. I mean, they're still very popular.
Yeah, they were kind of more of the OGs when it was small, and they've just maintained. And they are at, you know, the thing that it takes with YouTube golf that's a little bit different than, or a lot different than like a PGA, is you can be, you know, a Joey Coldcuts or a Bobby Fairways, these guys with Bob Does Sports, and be golfers like you and I. And yet make a living doing golf content.
Good content matters, brother. Good content's all. It's the game.
And by the way, I want those guys in the pro-ams of the PGA events. I want them at the Amex Open. They pack it with all the high value Amex guys. They should save some spots for these YouTube golfers because that would draw eyeballs. Grant Horvat is a great example. He gets 2 million views per video he puts out. That's 2 million people. I would guarantee you that 80% of those are not watching golf on Sundays.
Right. And there are more people like him and more people that, well, he's a good player. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who could play in an event, but like you and I, the guys that are 8 to 12 handicaps in there, that there's more people that are viewing that want us because they can live, they see. You snap, hook a drive, you motherfuck yourself, you grab a shot, then next thing you know, you make a birdie, and then you double the ups and downs of it, and then the mic'd up and in the golf cart and having a blast with your buddies and competing and talking it. And then now with the prize money, and you mentioned the Internet Invitational, and look what it's done for the good folks, and they do a great job. They are heavily involved in a lot. They now are sponsoring a PGA Tour event where they are the flagship sponsor. I mean, this is unheard of. I mean, when you think of Amex and you think of all these, that's who Good's jumped into in this space. That's That's such an underrated comment by you, Nick. This is the Findable Podcast. Nick Bender, founder of Drunk Golfer. I'm Sean Salisbury. This is getting guys like Grant Horvat, paying them to play in a pro-am alongside of the PG. And, because we kind of want to compare shots. We even do. Oh, man, look at that. And we see some really good players. And even if you stumble into one or don't, and I think that I actually think the PGA Tour players will welcome it because more and more of these guys, Smiley Kaufman, Young, look what they're doing around the greens now on the golf show when they're doing either NBC and or the Golf Channel. That he's sitting on the green with a player who's played in the tournament, and they're walking off during the tournament. That would have never been thought about 10 years ago or 5 years ago. More personality, more bodies, more excitement. YouTube's only going to continue to explode for these guys. That content is huge.
Yeah,
all right, how about the tour? Go ahead, Nick. Yeah.
Real quick on this, if I could just get it through, because you get it.
I do.
There's a lot of old guys that don't get what I'm saying right now, or even what you're saying. And
why are they offended by it, though? Why offended by that? Change is important.
I will make my case in point with one guy. There's a reason that all you old bastards are still interested in John Daly. Why is that? Because he's entertaining. Right. The guy hasn't been able to win a tournament or be competitive for 3 decades. But people still watch when he's on TV because he's the most entertaining golfer of all time. There's how many stories have we all heard about him teeing off with a putter off of a Coors Light can and hitting the ball 300 yards. This is what that golf needs more of. And YouTube golf is a breeding ground for more John Dalys. That's what we need.
We're not wearing Amana hats on the tour anymore. We've changed. We got curved. We got flat. Amana was great back in the day when everybody was wearing it. Things have changed. Golf courses have changed. Equipment has changed. I can't wait to see more and more of the hot list and the PGA show, obviously later this month in Orlando. Just all the changes, which leads me to whether it's apparel, whether it's the mic'd up stuff that we were talking about. Is there something extra that you'd like to see or that you expect to see? What's going to catch us aside from the live talk? What's going to be a trend that we're going to see more of, you think? The tracker, which has been great. I can't even remember how we watched golf 5 years ago or 10 years ago without it. We're seeing trackers on the putters, the angle, the slow, everything. What's next? Whether it's technology, apparel, where are we going with this? That in 2026, we're going to see some major change that doesn't have to do with bringing some of the live guys over, and purses will continue to get bigger. One thing for me, and you and I talked about this last week just in a fun conversation. I don't want less golf. I don't want to start the season later. I know the pros are like, well, we're okay to start Super Bowl time. I want to come out of January with a tournament right off the bat. I don't want to slow it down. I want it to be, and I do. And one thing that bothers me about the tour is we keep cutting back how difficult it is. You're making it tough for guys that may be late bloomers to have a chance. Now we're going to be at 100. I mean, when are we going to get to the point? We need new flavor and mixed with some of the guys that are in, but I think we're making it too tough for guys to either. I don't want hacks out there. None of them are hacks. Hell, we got +6 handicaps that are going to be playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, +8 handicaps because they couldn't get into the top 20, 125. So for me, I want more. I want more access, more tournaments. I just do. You can choose whether you want to play in the damn things or not. Well, I want more.
I think the way that happens, I mean, look at one of the best stories in the last decade, let's say. The story of the 2020s is Michael Block, right? Michael Block, a guy from 45 minutes from where I live, club
phenomenal.
Pro,
yep.
Getting 15th in the PGA, making a few $100,000. And then now he's, he basically travels around and makes a living playing golf properly. We need to go out and find a dozen more of him. And how do you do that? Well, maybe we take some of these other tournaments that are happening throughout the year that the big guys aren't going to play, and we put the top 10 YouTube golfers into it, and we let them compete. I'm not saying they're going to compete and win, but give them exemptions into these tournaments that are going to get less eyeballs because they bring the eyeballs. And that's what I don't think the older generation or the PGA will ever understand. They just think that the eyeballs come because of the name, the 3 letters. That's not true. The eyeballs come from the golfers are in it. I mean, a great example, the PNC, I didn't watch a single shot. Why? Charlie and Tiger Woods were not in it. It was uninteresting to me. I've been watching Charlie Woods grow up in that tournament. So taking a lot of those tournaments that would otherwise go unwatched and putting these guys in it and giving them a shot, getting them a shooter's chance. That's what I think they need to do.
And here's the opposite of me. Maybe it's I got my feels at the PNC tournament, brother. Kuchar without his dad, he and his son playing, and he's shedding a tear. And you didn't watch any of it. And you know what? I obviously would have been great to have Charlie and Tiger there, but Bernhard Longer and his kid and all the great. And then I see Gary Woodland playing with his old man, and both of them had been through their health struggles. For me, and having 3 kids, it's like, man, those are cherished, those moments. So I did, and it goes back to my obsessive compulsive neurotic obsession with golf. That was the one that was on. I was watching the damn thing because I was still in my craving. But I got my feels on the tournament. But you're right. Les watched it because Tiger and Charlie weren't in it.
But imagine if you threw in Grant Horvat and his dad and Bobby Fairways and his dad, or whatever, imagine that dynamic added into this tournament that is one of the more, where they will move tee boxes based on level.
Casual,
and keeps it competitive, and then another thing that they could add that I would, as the Grunk Dolpher of the crowd here, guys, don't forget Grunk Dolpher at Grunk Dolpher on all socials is, I've always said there's why isn't there a tournament where not only we mic the guys up, but we let them crack a few back and have a good time? Because there is a level of grunk, which we call it, which is the amount of alcohol it takes for you to find your swing and stay in that pocket. Some guys go over and lose it, and some guys are always just too tight. There is a level, and everybody's level is different, where if you could crack open a couple, maybe the Spieths would get out of their head a little bit. Maybe, maybe these guys that just go off the rails would have a little bit of an easier time focusing in and being competitive if we could just crack back a few and have it be part of the game. I know that's the stretch. That's a lot to ask for.
No, we're both on to something, because take a look at whether it's up there, whether I'd have to move this. Maybe I could put it up there. See, there's some whiskeys there, some bourbons, whether it's a quick shot on the first tee with your buddies and you get into that mode, or whether it's, I don't know, maybe you're in a Delta 9 5 milligram gummy that'll relax you so you can take, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Why not? And maybe some are into the flask. I don't know, but you're right. When it gets you into that sweet spot, and a great definition of Grunk Golfer, I love it. Which leads me to what I want in 2026. I'm not going to get it. You know what I want? Well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. If you and I, let's say we're playing, let's pick a golf course that's not Augusta, because the slope. Get a decent golf course that maybe we played that's on the PGA Tour. That's
the
one
Amex
of the tournaments.
Open, PGA West Stadium course.
Oh, well, dude, the slope there is friggin' brutal.
My 8-iron's in the lake on Alcatraz, 17th hole.
It's friggin' brutal. Okay, so if you want to choose it, that's fine. Or Riviera could be. I played Torrey, played Riviera. Any PGA Tour course. I played Pebble this last June. If we were spotted on Thursday, 15 strokes, playing from the back tees, spotted, you and I get 15. We're 15 under par to start.
Not a chance.
Are we making the cut?
You could start me on the fringe with 15 strokes, and we would lose to these guys.
I didn't say lose to them. I said make the cut. If I put you on the red tee, okay, yes. Are you making the cut?
Make a cut.
With
I'd be
well, don't say we. Hey, don't. Is there a mouse in your pocket? Don't say we. Okay, we. Okay, you're 15. You're 15 under to start Thursday from the back tees. You're missing the cut, correct?
Well, let me also say you are also missing the cut.
I am. There's no doubt. There is absolutely. Now, I'm going to tell you, 15 under par from red tees, like the on normal red tees, I think I'd have a chance, don't you?
No.
To make the cut. 15. Nope. You're already 15 under par. Okay.
I'll tell you what. That tournament's 2 weeks away, okay?
Are you shooting par?
When they are done and that course is still in tournament shape, maybe at mid to end of February, I will go there with you and we will play. And we will know what the cut line was in 2026 from, it'll have already happened. And I will bet you a good sum of money that you and I'll try. but I will bet you that if we both start 15 under and play from the reds, we will miss the cut.
Now it also depends. Like Palm Springs, they're gonna shoot 30 under par, right? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna
Exactly.
right.
The
At a
cut's gonna
tougher
be
course,
what,
right?
4 under, 5 under by the second day?
Probably, and you may even get to 6 or 7 depending. But you're right. At 15 under par from the back tees, playing at Torrey Pines, you ain't making a cut. We got no shot. And most 10 handicappers or 12 handicappers wouldn't. Red tees with 50. I'm trying to think there. I say, okay, red tees on a north. Weather's good, right? Where it's not. I'm not having to hit knockdown shots and flight just a good weather in the 70s. From the red tees, could I make the cut? From the red tees. 15 under par. So that would mean you'd have to shoot, let's say you shot 80 on the first day. So you're already now you're back to 7 under par. And then you shoot the same thing the next day and you're already over par. You probably don't make the cut depending on the event.
At that tournament, they'll play La Quinta Country Club and PGA
right.
West. And then
at Pebble Beach, they're playing a different rotation as well, right? Spyglass.
But if you just played, even make it easier, and you just played 2 days at Stadium and PG. Okay, wow, that's ridiculous.
If you shot 80, if you shot 90 both days, even with a 15-stroke lead, you're not making the cut. That's my point. We are not making the cut at one of those events.
I don't think from the reds I'm shooting better than an 80.
Depending on the course setup, depending on what the course is.
Well, that's what I mean. If
and
you're
you got to put everything
this,
out, right? No doubt.
It's an hour and a half for me. I'll go. I'll bet you $1,000 you won't make the cut.
Oh, I bet you $1,000. Well, then I'm doubling down. I know I'm not making the cut.
Damn it!
But from the red tees, I think we have hell, you can hit iron off the tee and at least have a chance, right? The problem is we don't get 3 foot. Is this good? No, but you got to putt a foot and a half, and I'll 3-putt a green till the cows come home. I don't think we're making the cut either. When you said we, I was like, well, me and you and about 8 billion others aren't making the cut. That's how good they are, which leads me to my trend in 2026. What I'd love to see. It's not even a trend. Along with this, I would love to see PGA Tour tournament, serious one where there's big money involved. You know, the purse is $3 million, where they got to play a stock club. They don't get to adjust it to theirs. Where they go like you and I to the PGA Tour Superstore. They get their 9-degree driver off the shelf. Now I know where everything's custom fitted, but you go and you can adjust the grips. You can fix your grips if you want 3 wraps or 2 wraps or whatever it is. But you got to go get standard loft and lie off the PGA Tour Superstore shelf. So McIlroy has to play his clubs. Scheffler's got to play his TaylorMades, or who. You got to play your clubs that you and I bought the PGA brand new set. You practiced with them, but you don't get to bend it to where it's your normal 48, 52, 56, 60 degree wedges, your 9-degree or 10.5 or 9.5 or 7.5 degree drive. But you don't get to go into the truck and get it fitted or adjusted to where you're hitting 8-iron 220, Bryson DeChambeau. How good, what would the score be at Pebble Beach with stock, off the shelf, brand new, with their sponsor? Not everybody the same club, not Titleist, Nike, whatever ones you're wearing. Not Nike, they don't make clubs anymore. Titleist or TaylorMade or Callaway, but everything's got to be bought from the store, and you get 1 week to practice with it before you use it. What are they shooting?
I don't know, but I don't care. I don't want my NASCAR drivers riding in a Prius either. You know what I mean?
Why not? I think it'd be great for one event.
No way.
Don't you want? Well, then isn't that what YouTube's bringing us to? That at times it's average golf because it's good content. Don't you enjoy seeing a guy snap hook a drive mixing that they suffer like you and I do? I do. I enjoy a setup being so tough on them that they 3-putt from 4 feet. I do want that. So just one tournament. I want them to be the normalcy. I'm never going to get it because they wouldn't agree to do it because they don't want to be embarrassed. I still think the scores will be low. I think you could put a broomstick in Scheffler's hand and he's going to shoot even par. But my thing is, on a course, do it during the fall season. But it's a money season. It doesn't have to count towards FedEx Cup points or any of that stuff. I just want them grab a 9-degree driver off and go hit it like you and I do on the range and go play. I wonder what they'd shoot. And I wonder if they'd be like, damn, this is if you shoot 15 under, would you shoot 7 under? Would you shoot 2 under? Are the specs so good? And you got to go buy the ball at and I know we can get the same thing, but you just got to go buy your number one ball out of the PGA Tour Superstore, your Pro V1. Why don't you want to see that? You watch that every day on YouTube.
Yeah, but I don't know that I'd watch a turn. I'd have to think more about it. But to me, as you're saying it, it doesn't sound interesting to me for the same reason I don't want, the NASCAR drivers in the Prius. I think let them have it's the same thing with tennis or any other sport. It's like, yes, these guys have the top of the line adjusted exactly to their specs. I'd rather introduce alcohol before I'd introduce stock clubs.
I don't want it in a major. I just want it as an event.
I don't think most of the guys in our range have stock clubs. We all like, if you take golf serious at all, you're getting your clubs fitted to you.
But we want the non-serious golfer to follow golf. And by putting this, just one tournament, one stock tournament, just one.
But I guess here's what I would say. I haven't even
I want to see a tournament.
I haven't even thought about the fact that these guys, I think it would maybe adjust their score 1 or 2 or 3 strokes tops per round. And I when I'm watching them play, I'm not thinking, yeah, he drove the ball 353 yards, but what if he had a stock paradigm right off the shelf? I never think, that doesn't get me.
I do.
It doesn't get me going. What I do think is, what if he had 3 beers in him?
Well, why can't you do both? Then let's see what he's all about. Let's test it.
One day. Well, what about for every beer you drink, you add one of your other clubs back in?
Isn't the great question? I know you'll watch these guys. We know how good they are. I mean, buddies of mine and that I've seen play. We watch every. To me, the hand-eye coordination. How even the guy who doesn't score well, where they can scramble from and the stuff they do and how they hit it, the yardage, and I mean everything is phenomenal. But for me, I do want one time not to see them embarrass themselves, because they wouldn't embarrass themselves. Stock club, they get to go and they'll still hit it because they know how to hit the face. But I do want to see, does the putter, does that wedge in your hand that those guys, it's like, I mean, you got that feel for the wedge that you're used to everything, the specs being perfect. They'll still play good golf and be better than any of us. And you're right, but the majority of the world still doesn't get custom clubs because they can't afford them. You and I do. Maybe somebody gave it to us, or we did a promotion, or I love it enough that I'm going to spend more on that than I am on food. So yeah, and I'm at that point in my life at times. So, but with this, I would like one tournament. Hell, look what we're doing. We got them playing at night. We got the just recently on the Golf Channel where they did the games where you're going there and we've got a guy standing in the middle of the fairway. They're hitting from there. So one tournament a year for 4 days where they got to use stock clubs without getting them custom fit and bent to them. I would think it would be fantastic, because I'd like to see just how much better than us they are, which I already know they are. But is equipment worth 4 strokes? Is equipment worth 2 strokes? Is equipment just a stock putter that I get off the shelf? Is that worth 5 strokes? Is it worth? I mean, because these guys are so particular, just like the quarterback with his football and how much air's in it. These guys are so particular. They'd still be great, but how much difference would it be if Bryson actually has to hit a 5-iron from 210 instead of a 7-iron? Because the accuracy, not the distance, he's going to smoke it anyway. You get my point? That's just something I'd love to see. But with the old guard, you're never going to see it. Maybe you and I can change that and sponsor a tournament one day.
The question to the crowd will be, would you rather have a golf tournament where you could drink beer, or where the golfers had to play with stock off-the-shelf golf clubs? That's the comments that I want to see in the comment section. Which one would you rather see?
Well, and you know what we'll do for our next show next week? We'll put up a poll question the day before that very question. I'd say, why can't you do both? And in truth, they may get mad, but how do we know? Are we sure a golfer doesn't swig a beer, one beer, to take the edge off before his game, or take a shot out of a flask when he's sitting in his hotel room? I'm not saying alcoholic stuff. I'm just saying to take the edge off, like a guy that smokes a cigarette. Well, you have Miguel Angel Jimenez is smoking a cigar. That'll take the edge off if you do it. So are we sure that nobody's taking a quick hitter, a quick hitter off a flask, or maybe a half a beer, just to relax, to open up? Are we sure of that? You wanted to be out there, be able to guzzle and take a doggone, have a contest and then hit the stock club. I'm with you. I'm with you. No difference. It's just different ways to skin a cat. All right, let's end with this. This is the Findable Podcast. You'll hear us next week again. and we'll eventually get to doing more. But we starting out, and we can't wait. Oh, first of all, who's going to win the Sony? Who's winning? I haven't even looked at the full field yet because of the change and Kapalua not being there. But we can do that before next week's show because we'll preview that on a Monday. Matter of fact, let's hold that off.
Ahead of time. I gotta know. I don't even know who's making it out there because I'm assuming we lost some of the field since they're not out there for 2 tournaments. Maybe they didn't make the track.
Too much travel for 1 week.
We'll have to look and do some research.
You got one swing. Give me a couple. You got one swing that you want to emulate, PGA Tour current player.
Oh, current.
That it's going to be your swing for the rest of your life. Who you taking? I didn't say results. I didn't say scoring. We all want what Scotty does. I'm talking about just when your buddies watch, they say, damn, motherfucker, that's a great swing. Or it's just whatever. If you like swinging like DeChambeau, I need the swing you want to be your sidekick the rest of your golfing life from a current PGA Tour player.
Well, I think he's on Live, but Wolf is my favorite swing.
Oh, you like that dip before he hits, boom, the little dip, like and that's like his little starter, his little rhythm starter.
Exactly. Yep, that's my swing. If I could emulate that, I wouldn't be able to ever hit the ball if I tried to do that. But that's the prettiest looking swing in current golf to me. Who's yours?
Old school, I would have taken Ernie Els or Steve Elkington even before. Just Elk's a Houston guy too, just so smooth. It's like they're bored and the ball jumps off their club. Currently, there's a lot of great ones. There's 3 that stick out, and I'll pick the one. I love Harris English's tempo. I think another guy to keep an eye on, depending on where Jake Knapp's got a great golf swing. He could shoot 60 tomorrow. I love his tempo. Matter of fact, I'm all over it. But because he feels like a little like my body type, and I feel I'm never going to get to it, but the swing I probably study the most and most admire would be Ludwig Oberg's swing. Long. He doesn't stand over the ball long. He's got phenomenal tempo and extension. I'm just a huge fan of his tempo that you could sit there all day and try to emulate it, and he could be standing next to me, and I can't. It's just beautiful. And I want everybody to address the ball like Sepp Straka does. Take a look, get your ass up there. Don't even practice swing. Take your waggle and let it rip. Faster play. That's the one thing I do want to see on tour. Harsher penalties for the guys that are dicking around and screwing up their playing partners because they're standing over and stalking a 4-foot putt for 12 minutes. Get your ass up and hit it. We all do. So the good ones, play a little faster. And you know specifically who I'm talking to, yet he's a great player, and I admire his game and Patrick Cantlay. But damn, son, if I'm his playing partner, I want to get in a fist fight. Yet I still like his game. But I'll take Ludwig Oberg for the rest of my life when it comes to tempo of a swing. Great stuff, brother. I kind of like this. I'm as excited about this as I am about anything that I'm doing or anything that we're doing right now. I just love it, and I can't wait till it continues to flow and we get more people involved.
2026 is our year, man. Let's do it.
Tell them where to find you. This is Nick Bender. He's the founder and CEO of Grunk Dolpher and a dear friend with great opinion.
At Grunk Dolpher on all socials, and grunkdolpher.com is the website where you can get the best polos, hats, and brand new just released button downs in the game.
Dude, your button downs. I better be getting one of those or 2 of those in the mail here sometime
I'll
soon.
send you some.
There you go. They look awesome. Great stuff and great pizzazz and comfortable, and it fits your brand perfectly. You can get me at the Sean Salisbury on IG and on social media everywhere. Sean Unfiltered on Twitter, X, and I am the founder of Unpaved Golf Company, which this first quarter, we're mocking it up the stuff now and finishing up the logo. You'll see our introduction with the hoodies, performance hoodies, and shirts and hats as well to start this off by the time the first quarter of this year is over. We're excited about this. Nick, I couldn't have a better partner on this, brother. I appreciate you. Triple E, thanks, is a great production team. And as we continue to grow it, you'll get more content, especially with us on the golf course, making the cut, spotted -15. Maybe at Tiger Woods' pop stroke. Other than that, we'll be right back at it next Monday right here, 4 o'clock Central on the Findable Podcast. For Nick Bender, I'm Sean Salisbury, and for Triple E, we'll see you guys next week. Share it with your friends and tell us what you think. Peace.